Doesn't get much better for me, that. Does not get much better than Proud Mary, Tina Turner. Love it too much. You're listening to the Stage and Screen Show with me, Andy Snowden, here on 105 Calon FM in the heart of Wrexham Town.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. 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 I'm going downtown tonight. What's going on?
Now, coming to the Real Pavilion on Thursday the 12th of May, celebrating an incredible 13th year, is the award-winning Tina Turner tribute concert, Totally Tina. Priding itself as the UK's original and #1 tribute show, Totally Tina has literally played all over the world, now embarking on a massive UK and European tour. And as I say, stops off at the Real Pavilion on the 12th of May, and we have a pair of tickets to give away to one lucky winner this afternoon. But before I tell you how you can get your hands on them, let's hear from the star of the show herself. Justine Riddoch joins us on the line now. And Justine, all morning I've been watching your videos online, and it seems to me you really embraced the lockdown experience. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I'd say so, definitely. Yeah. 10 weeks worth of lockdown videos in my living room.
A lot of people did that,
amazing.
didn't they? Even if they weren't necessarily entertainers, they started doing strange little things online. It was
yeah, I think it took me a couple of weeks of enjoying the peace and the quiet and not actually travelling anywhere to think, right, okay, I'm actually a bit bored now. I think I need to do something. Yeah. And also we had to do it for the people who come to our show, our fans. We had to keep their interest up, and we thought, well, we're all sat at home bored, and this is what I do anyway. So 45 minutes on a Monday night is definitely not the same as doing like 3 or 4 gigs a weekend, 2-hour theatre shows, but hopefully it'll bring a little bit of joy. And it was lovely to do the shout-outs, more than the actual singing. For me, it was more about all the shout-outs with everybody, being able to see all the reams of people coming in saying, say hello to this person, and especially as a lot of them were NHS workers.
And it must be lovely to be back, but you must have thought there was a real danger that we'd never see it again. We'd never be back to normal ever again.
I think everyone I spoke to thought, that's it. Nobody's going to want to do live entertainment now because they're so used to doing stuff in their garden. And why would you want to spend money on that when you can make your own entertainment? And everybody's gardens were so fantastic. Alan Titchmarsh would have been thrilled. But I was shocked to see how rapidly went back out.
Yeah.
And wanted the company of other people. I thought, okay, maybe we are going to survive. This is good.
Yeah.
See, for me, because I've been travelling so much and I was just physically and mentally so tired from doing so much work across all different continents, the first thing for me was the peace of sleep, yeah, and not having to go anywhere, not packing anything, and not stressing out about the next gig, and not having to redo the washing and all the costumes that needed repair. It was like, yes, okay, I can get my sewing needle out slowly and do this. Yeah. So for the first couple of weeks, it was absolutely fine. And then I got stuck into research on Tina and lots of different medleys that we could do when we eventually got back. And I started the creative process then, and searching for costumes, and costumes take so long to create and ship and make and everything. So for me, I managed to get a lot of new different ideas into the show, yeah, because I had so much time on my hands.
As I say, I've been doing research on you the last few days, and I think it's quite safe to say that performing is very much in your blood. It looks like it's always been there as a child. When did it start for you?
I think I did a few little things in school very young. I was really 11 when I was in the Park Players, and I was doing lots of drama in school. I didn't discover singing, I think, more until I was about 17 or 18. I did my first campsite. But I did, as soon as I realised what acting and singing were all about, I went, Mum, that's what I want to do.
Yeah. And did you have lessons? Did you go to like the drama clubs or anything like that? Or was
they didn't. Well, they didn't have the likes of Lipper and everything when I was in school. They did have Elliot Clark School of Dance and Drama, but it wasn't something I could go to full time. It was it was a part-time thing on a Saturday for me. That was in the Neptune Theatre, which it used to be the Neptune, now it's the Epstein.
And you, quite famously, I suppose, went on Stars in Their Eyes with the original and the best, Mr. Matthew Kelly, as Anastasia. What was your...
And it's hilarious because I never really wanted to be an impersonator of any description. Every artist wants to be themselves first.
Yeah.
And then after about 15 years on the circuit thinking, I'm not getting anywhere. Then you think, okay, I'll try that. And tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Anastasia.
What was your experience of that? Because I suppose every meal now that you go out for, people want to know what's behind the smoke, right?
I think it's quite disappeared now. I think everybody has sort of forgotten about Stars in the Rise. I don't get asked much about it anymore. But it was an amazing experience. Any of the acts who've ever been on Stars in the Rise will tell you now the show itself was just an absolute pleasure. And if you could have done it every single week, then you would have. You could tell that the cast and the crew absolutely adored their job, and it was just such a happy environment. Everyone was so fun. There was no prize money, so you weren't really in competition with anybody else because there was nothing to win at the end of it.
There was no prize,
which I suppose made it a bit easier.
There's no prize. You just had the prestige of winning.
Yeah, that's all it was. And for me, I met up with just an amazing bunch of people, and Matthew was just stunning. To this day, I still speak with Matthew, and it was just an experience that I didn't want to end. I wish it could have carried on, but unfortunately it didn't.
And did you carry on working as Anastasia? Did you do a tribute act to her?
Yeah, I was Anastasia for the next 6 years, intermingled in between cabaret, which is what I've been doing for the last 15 years anyway. But it was back in 2008. I was asked by a fantastic festival. You're going to love the name to this festival. It's called Glaston Budget.
I've heard of Glaston Budget, yeah. Yeah.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, they asked me would I perform on their festival as Anastasia, but Glaston Budget is only bands. You can't go on with backing tracks. So I went, ooh, what am I going to do? So I had a word with a few people that I knew back home and managed to get myself a band together. And that's where the band was created. So it was back in 2008 that we decided to start working together as a band. And then after Anastasia stopped releasing records, she'd gone on tour with Shaka Khan and Lulu in a wonderful show called Here Comes the Girls. And she was just out of the public eye, so people weren't asking for me as that character anymore. But lots of people over the years had said how much I sounded like Tina. And I thought, I'm not too sure. Tina, she's a big character. It's a legend. I just don't know whether I can cope with that. And the more I looked at it, the more I thought, hang on a minute. I've got the same hair. People say I've got the same legs.
It's a good start having the same hair, that's for sure.
And I had a band as well, so it was like, shall we try this?
Do you approach, when you go to approach something like this, do you approach it almost like an actor would? You study all the moves and the videos and everything?
Well, to a degree, I would have said yes right from the beginning. I remember seeing an interview, and she was talking to Adrienne Warren. This is the lady who did the musical. She was the first person to portray her in the musical in the West End. She said, don't try to be me. She said, try to bring an essence of me to the stage. And the first thing I did was I watched Angela Bassett in the movie, What's Love Got to Do with This? And I looked at how her facial mannerisms, because I had the moves down. I knew how she moved her body and and I knew how she flicked her hair, and I had an American accent there. But every time I was on stage, I could do this. It's quite southern, not quite as southern. She's not quite as southern as this. But I'd do all that, and there was just seemed to be something missing. And it was a look on her face. It was a smile. It was a teethy smile. And Angela does an awful lot in the movie. And I watched more Tina footage and thought, yes, she does that as well. And it was from that moment that I think people went, whoa, you really look like her now, even though I don't look like her. I do look like her.
Yeah. So
it was a bit strange. But I've always said that our show is paying tribute to Tina. I'm no Joe Longthorne. You're not going to get tons of different voices out of me. I just happen to have a real soul-y, gravelly, powerful voice. And that voice lends itself very well to Tina Turner, as it would possibly Jocelyn Brown and Franklin, and it's the same soul-y sound.
Yeah.
So for me, I wanted our show to pay tribute to her, talk about her life, talk about her amazing achievements, talk about all the different cover songs that she did with all the duets with all the famous other people. So it's more about that and letting everybody know that, well, my name is Justine and I'm going to take you down this journey. So that enables us as artists to be very creative. If you're not doing a carbon copy of somebody and you're not just looking at their footage and their costumes and then going out and getting exactly the same thing, then it allows you to be creative.
Yeah.
So we can create our own medleys that she may not have done. But maybe if she's doing a concert next year, she would have put that in. And we get to create different looks with costumes and different dance ideas, which also makes us different to any other Tina tribute that may come out.
But the voice is iconic anyway, but her stage presence is almost unequaled by anybody. It must be a real difficult thing to try and emulate. But as you say, if you're just basically saying this, we're telling her story through music, it's a different approach to it, I suppose.
Yeah, and she is absolutely shattering. At the end of the night, the pain in my feet. I mean, I've looked at her shoes along the way, and sometimes she's worn ones with straps on, but mainly she wears, obviously, her stilettos. And her stilettos look about 4 to 4 inches, maybe 3 to 4 inches. And the ones I've got are about 5 inches. I'm going to have to lower them down. They're absolutely, after 13 years of doing this now, I've got calves like a shot butter. Honest to God, she kills me.
But I mean, the Totally Tina. The footage that I've seen of it is a full-on. It's a rock experience, isn't it? It's got a full band. It's got backing dancers. It's got everything. Tell us about it. What can people expect?
It really is stunning, and I know I'm biased when it comes to that, but we worked so hard on it. It's just for instance, the costumes. I think we have about 22. The girls do about 7, and I do about 7 in the first half, and it's about 6 in the second half, I think. And we've got beautiful crystally feathers and amazing bodysuits and LED lights and feathers. The list is endless when it comes to the costumes. The dance routines are so fierce. They're as fierce as Tina herself. The band are so funny and so tight, and they really, really bring a total essence to it. Her band, when she was on stage, came forward and rocked with her, and that's what it's about with my guys. Now, we're all a little bit more mature, possibly, especially my band. So we bring a slightly different vibe to it. I say that Andy, our sax guy, he reminds me of his voice is like Joe Cocker. That's what type of voice he's got. And Neil's just a stunning guitarist. They really are. So you're going to see dynamic video footage, amazing banging dance routines, like stomping music, and then you'll get me hopefully making you laugh and you hopefully making you shake your tail feather.
Perfect. I mean, the back catalogue of Tina Turner is it's extensive, isn't it? How do you choose? Almost you have to choose what to leave out, I suppose, as opposed to what to put in.
Well, I suppose that's why we did the medleys. And I mean, if you take all of the extremely famous hits, then yes, you can make a 2-hour show. But if you really intricately start looking and watching, and you find her version of Missing You by John Waite, and you find her version of Help by the Beatles, and then into the medley you put It's Only Rock and Roll, Jumping Jack Flash, Get Back by the Beatles, it's Honky Tonk Woman and the Bitch Is Back, and you call it the rock medley, and you do 3 costume changes. Hey, now hang on. That's interesting. Then you'll play Nutbush, then you'll play River Deep, then you'll play Proud Mary, then you're going to do something a bit different again. And it still is Tina, because she's done thousands of things over the years that people don't know about. And to link it all in, there's little bits of footage on the screen showing you her singing that with that person that year.
Yeah.
So it just makes it interesting. It's a production, it's a visual extravaganza, as opposed to just going along and, okay, someone's put a wig on, they're strutting around the stage and shouting. You know, it's not about that. Tina's so much more. You've got to make it a proper show, because that's what she would do.
Yeah. And is there a song that you, not necessarily is your favourite song, but is great to perform?
At the moment, I think Missing You is probably my favourite one. It's the hardest one as well. But if everyone go onto Google and find Tina live in Amsterdam singing Missing You. because that's the footage we have on at the back when I'm singing this song, and it is mind blowing. She does it so well.
Well, you're on a massive European tour at the moment, playing almost every town in the UK. Do you get different reactions from different towns in the UK, or is it much of a muchness?
Why, aye, man. That's the only accent I'm going to get to do. Ah, Jesus. Oh no, yeah. We do. The Scots and North East are wild. They're crazy, and then down south, I'd say, depending on where you go, in what area, some of them are a little bit more subdued and they're elegant, and then you get other ones that are just crazy. Yeah. And from the beginning, you can see that you've got audience members with like 20 Tina wigs on and glowing like sticks, and they're ready to party. It's just a lovely change from when we first got back to doing this, and you were looking in front of you at a sea of people with masks on. At least we can see people smiling now. Yeah, absolutely. And logistically, to tour Europe, I mean, with a full band and with everything that you've got, I mean, the logistics of that is quite. I mean, it must be quite testing. It certainly is. You've picked exactly the right word there. When you've got 17 people at an airport and they're all going, I want a bacon sandwich, and what time's the flight coming on? And, oh, my back's split, and here's the dip's gone on this. And you just, honest to God. In rehearsals as well, it's just like, my drummer, who's my partner, actually has a great way of saying when you're trying to gather 17 people together, either for an airport run or whether it's a rehearsal, it's a bit like herding cats. So that's what it's like. We've got 17 people who've got their own jobs, and they do this as a secondary job, as a part-time job, or some of them do it as a hobby. So it's not their priority. So you can't push people to do what you want them to do, which is very frustrating at times. And then when you get them in an airport and they're about to go on a gig to Spain, they treat it more like, well, it's me jolly holidays now, isn't it? Yeah. I'm off. Yeah. Where's the nearest bar? Hang on a minute, we got sound check. Get back here now. So it's very, very hard. But that's the joy. It's the joy of doing it for yourself rather than a production company. You get to see the highs and the lows yourself. And it's a bit like having lots of children, lots of really naughty children. Well, you're you're coming to the Real Pavilion on the 12th of May. That's very much like being on holiday as well, because it's right on the seafront. So exactly, we always find the seaside towns are always crazy, and you always get to have fish and chips. Yay! That's the great thing, isn't it? There's something about fish and chips in a seaside town. I don't know what they do with them, but it's always brilliant. I don't know why. It is. It's fantastic until you see it a bit later during the show. You're right in the middle of Proud Mary going, "Oh, I really wish I hadn't had them now." Justine, it's been an absolute treat to speak to you this afternoon. Thanks ever so much for that. I really appreciate it. Amazing. Thank you. Lovely. And we'll see you at the Real Pavilion on the 12th of May. Look forward to it. Yay, come on, everybody. Let's hope it's nice and sunny. Let's shake our tail feathers together. Wonderful. Thanks ever so much. Take care. Thank you. Cheers. Bye. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Bye-bye. I call you, I need you. Tina Turner. Simply the best. Wonderful. So, as I say, Totally Tina, the tribute show to Tina Turner, is coming to the Real Pavilion on Thursday, the 12th of May, and we got a couple of tickets to give away to one lucky winner. All you got to do to win them, or just get your hands on them, is go to our social media pages, either be Twitter, which is at Calon FM, or Facebook, which of course is Calon FM. Find the link, like it, share it, get it out there, and on the 7th of May we will draw a winner, and you can take anybody that you fancy along to the Real Pavilion, or anybody that you don't fancy. I don't know. Doesn't have to be someone you fancy, right? To go and see this Tina Turner tribute act, which I've got to be honest with you, I've seen some tribute acts on around the world and on YouTube, and this one really does look the bee's knees. Simply the best, right? Hey? I'm not just a pretty face. You're listening to the Stage and Screen Show with me, Andy Snowden, here on 105 Calon FM. Good afternoon.
It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show. It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show. It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show. It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show.